guarantee you three is happening. Or you go into the Lord and you're saying, Lord, I need money. Not, Lord, I need you. So this is what the text says. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Worship the Lord and run from evil. It will be health to your stomach, and it will be marrow to your bones. Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of all that you receive. I have a 14-month-old son. I mean, them little orange sheets, if you got an orange sheet, you kind of got the message. So I'm not going to go through the orange sheet. That's for you to take home and do what I talked about 5 minutes ago. Just really wrestle with the text and wrestle with God is telling you. You can write notes on the back of it, not notes to each other, but notes concerning what God is telling you. We have a 14-month-old son at home. He just started walking about 3 or 4 months ago. And if you've ever seen a child when they first begin walking, they walk like orangutans. All through the house. He can say a few words, and as I watch my son, God uses my son to convict my life. My assistant director also has a child that is 2 weeks younger than my son, and he used him to, let me give y'all 2 illustrations that the Lord has used to break my heart. One was my son, Simeon. You see the word deafen on that orange sheet. Sometimes we don't hear God. We don't know that God is speaking to us because we are deafened to him. That's the deep-rooted lies that come are because we are deaf to the Lord. And so my son, God bless him, I love him. He will be at the house. And he will be enamored with some toy, something he shouldn't be touching, the toilet, something. The brother is enamored. And I say, Simeon. And he does not look. And he keeps walking, enamored with his Simeon. Then I get, like old folks, Simeon Justice, which is his middle name, and I'm trying to get his attention. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about already. I keep calling his name and calling his name and calling his name to get his attention. Now listen to me very carefully. Sometimes what I have to do is I have to get up from where I am. I have to go to my son. I have to grab his hands. I have to take whatever that is in his hands out of his hands. I have to take whatever that is in his hands out of his hands. I have to force him to look at me. And all I want to do sometimes is say, Simeon, I love you. I'm your daddy and I love you. And then I let him go and I let him play again. Then there are other times where Simeon is just distracted. There's so much stuff going on at the house. We got Lecrae pumping in the house and we just dancing around and acting the fool and we just having fun. And Simeon is completely distracted. I mean completely distracted. He just jumping around, acting crazy. And then I want to get him a message. But with all of the noise that's going on at the house, all of the noise in this young boy's life, the TV on, the radio on, me and mama talking, everything that's going on in this boy's life, there are times where he's distracted and cannot hear my voice. Sometimes y'all the same way. Some of y'all jump in your car by yourself and the first thing you do is flip on the radio. Part of that is because you're afraid of silence, because you know that God will speak to you. And you're afraid of what he might tell you because in your heart, you don't believe that God got your best interest in mind. And you are scared to death to hear from him. Then there are other times, y'all, where God bless my son. He will walk around the house and he'll get in the toilet. He's being enamored with the toilet, and the brother will lift up and just play in the water. Somebody might say, that's bad parenting. Look, we watch the boy, but when a kid start walking, man, ain't much you can do. You know what I'm saying? But shut all the doors and lock them. And so we'll be sitting down and we'll be reading or we'll be talking, and before I know it, I hear some splish splash, and then he ain't taking a bath. You know what I'm saying? And I go and I look at, and I'm like, dude, what are you playing in the, if you only knew that you playing in the toilet. Homie, you playing in a place where waste goes and bugs and all kind of other disgusting stuff that we flush to some place that, is in Ratatouille. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you only knew. But some of us, just like him, man, we play in the toilets of other people's lives. And God says, dude, if you only knew that thing you playing with, compared to what I can give you, God says, that boy that you got, that girl that you got, that money that you got, that job that you're chasing after, the education that you want, is just like my son playing in the toilet. And we're chasing all of this stuff. We're chasing all of this stuff that can't bring us satisfaction. Here's another example that God used to really speak to my heart. My wife and I were watching the Redskins game 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm from Southern Virginia. My wife and I have 2 channels. So we have a radio that shows pictures. And so the Redskins game was on. It was all I had to, it was the only football I could see. All right? So I was watching Redskins and the Cardinals. My wife and I were just playing around, talking, having a good time. And my son got up and walked out of the room, which is not unusual. He just kind of, you know, don't go there. We just talking and stuff. Anyway, so we... that was not a lie. So 5 minutes later, you know, my wife and I look at each other and I'm like, where's Simeon? And my beautiful pregnant wife got up and she walked into his room, and there he was, y'all, get this, he was behind his door and he had a dirty wipe in his hands. Now, some of y'all who can babysat kids, you know what I'm talking about. Not a clean wipe and not a wet wipe. A wet wipe is when all they do is number 1. A dirty wipe is when they do number 3. You know what I'm saying? So this brother's behind his door with a dirty wipe in his hand.
Oh my God.
And for all y'all who say that's nasty, I want you to ask God to show you in your own life where you wiping a dirty spiritual wipe all over your face. Because that's what God showed me. It's easy to sit up in here and say, oh, that's nasty. You wiping doo-doo all over your face. But you know and I know that some of y'all after this thing are going to go wipe doo-doo and it's written all over your face. Some of y'all know that that's the case and you scared to death right now. Your heart is about to beat out of your chest and you like, who told you about me? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That's the way that I feel when I chase anything more than I chase the Lord. And if your heart don't feel like that when you chase anything more than the Lord, perhaps you ain't never chased the Lord to begin with. Wow. You need to understand something, man. When you know Jesus, your life changes. Yes. And it's not like, what? It's not a fabricated change. It's not a change that you can make happen. It's a change that God brings into your life and into your heart. I was playing basketball. There's a girl in here who has a boyfriend who works up there where I work, and he and I were playing basketball. And he and I, as we were playing basketball, we were getting ready to walk off the court, and my wife was there with our son, and my assistant director was there with his son, and this was awesome. After the week that I had being frustrated with just not seeing results and not necessarily knowing what God was doing because I was not listening to what my father had to say because I was too distracted and deaf into his voice with all this other junk that cannot satisfy me. And this is what happened, and it blew my mind. Josiah is the boy's name. And Josiah wanted to follow my wife and I, and this young man I was playing basketball with, and my son. He wanted to follow us, and so he started following us because he and my son had been playing with these tennis balls, and he wanted to follow us. So he started following us. Now this basketball court is not extremely big, but it's not small either. And so his dad was sitting right at the free throw line, and he started following us. My house is probably maybe 300 yards from the basketball court. And so I had walked about 25 to 50 yards. And Josiah was still behind us. And y'all, let me tell you something. This was so unbelievable. His dad said, we turned around. My wife said, Josiah, no, you need to go back and you need to get with your dad. You need to get with your dad. You're getting too far away from your father.